All right, let's since we are recording this, we can always go back to it for posterity. But I do want to encourage you to ask questions at the end if you have any questions about this. Devin Kelly is my colleague from Alternative Schools Network. If you haven't already heard of her or met her, she's done a bunch of this over the last couple of years, working only since the COVID venture began. She joined us in a remote circumstance, and but now she's getting out to schools more, and she's done One Summer Chicago with us, led that, which is an enormous effort. If you've anybody's been involved with One Summer Chicago, it's like, we bring on 300 people over the summer or something. How big was it last summer? Was it
265?
265. And they all come on, and we handle the payroll and the compliance paperwork, and Devin's led that along with Rosalie, Abby, and so she's been doing a lot with us. And currently, it's the IYF project, and then you're doing other work too? You're
just already starting to. We finished wrapping up One Summer Chicago, and we're already starting to prepare for next year.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I'm also working with Becky for campus or Compass counseling.
Oh, okay, with Rebecca. Yeah, okay, great. See, there's so much stuff I don't know because we're all working kind of semi-remotely still. It's like, not having that common office space is strange for us. But I'll turn everything over now to Devin, and she's going to tell you about International Youth Foundation, which we've been involved with now for, I guess this is probably the third year, I would guess. And some schools have had a lot of success with it. So go ahead, Devin.
Yeah, so we're a relatively new organization, or relatively new program from the organization IYF. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to start here, share, and then, okay, so you guys should be able to see that. Let me take my window so you don't have to stare at yourselves. Okay. 1 second. There you go. Okay, so IYF is an organization out of DC, International Youth Foundation, and they are funded by a few different corporations, including McDonald's is their primary funder, and they have a curriculum called Passport to Success, which is almost always abbreviated to PTS. And it is a job readiness and life skills program. So just some background on the reason why life skills are so important. You guys are in education, I'm sure you're very much aware, but it's all about setting up kids for success after graduation, whether it's for personal things like confidence and anger management, or really pushing for job skills. So filling out, having resumes and cover letters and interviewing, and then also come to kind of make them better employees later on. So a cooperation, teamwork. So this is all stuff that is helpful while they're still in school, potentially in college or in the workplace. So all these skills are kind of the foundation of what PTS is looking to teach kids. So this is an incentive-based program. I put this up front so that people know before I even get into telling you what the program is about. So youth get $75 for providing for doing the curriculum. This is a curriculum-based program, and providing their demographic information. So this could be collected by the teacher, or the way we usually do it is we pass out a Google Form survey, and they can just fill that out. And it just includes, their address, email, but it also has some more demographic information if they're involved in juvenile justice, if they're homeless, stuff like that. And then finishing the curriculum, and then there's a satisfaction survey at the end. So if they do those three things, they get $75 for that. We are also offering to the youth that complete the curriculum CPR certification or food handler certification. These are fantastic on resumes. They are sometimes required for certain jobs. So this will help them kind of get a step up into the workplace. And then after they complete the curriculum, we are looking for outcome data as well. So again, that's a Google form that can be emailed out. And then there's 2 of them, one that's done 60 days after the curriculum and one that's done 90 days after the curriculum. If they complete those, they get $10 for each of those. So an additional $20. So you can get as much as $95 plus these 2, one of these 2 certificates. So PTS can be delivered 4 different ways. These days, most of our youth are in person. So it can just be taught standard the way normally in a classroom. There is an online program where the youth can just log on and work their way through the different classes. And that can be assigned, and then I can go in and check and see if they completed all of their lessons. It can be done over Zoom. Obviously, this was the way it was taught primarily during the pandemic, and then a blend of the 2. So if a student misses a class, they can go on and do one of the classes in the virtual platform. So there's lots of different ways we can develop this for your students that are in person, or if you have students that are still working remote, we can find a way to deliver this. And we've found a lot of success delivering it over Zoom in the last 2 years. So we have slideshows that instructors can use. There's a whole lot of resources. So this is the data that we need to collect. Demographic data. This is collected again primarily through that Google form survey. And these are just all the questions that we ask. Then we also need to collect program information. This is provided by the instructor. So this is just telling me what classes you taught, when you taught them, when they finished, and how you delivered it.
Yeah.
And then again, go ahead.
I think we're just seeing the same first slide with the 10 key areas only.
Oh, that's so weird. Let me try again. It's appearing differently on my screen.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's.
Is it still that first slide?
Mike, you're right. You can still see the first slide. Same for me.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Let me try unsharing and resharing, because that's appearing completely different on mine. Desktop 1. And then, are you guys seeing anything different?
No, and it never stops sharing.
Nope.
That's
It's still, it never stops sharing. It's still showing the same scenario. What you could do is, if you're sharing full screen, maybe try to just share the PowerPoint and see if that will make an adjustment for you.
So weird. It's appearing completely different on mine. Bear with me. Sorry, guys.
Sure, you know what I'll do is oh, there we go. Okay, now you're unshared. That's
Okay.
good.
Let's try this again. And then go back. Now, are you seeing different slides now?
Yeah, that's looking good.
Okay, I have no idea why I did that. That's bizarre. So these are the delivery systems. Let me move this out of your way. Okay. Okay, so these are the different types of data that we're collecting. So then this outcome data in this last column, this is the type of information that we request at 60 days out and 90 days out. So it's just a really quick survey, takes less than 5 minutes. And again, they get $10 for 60 days out and another $10 for 90 days out. If they don't complete one, that's fine. It's just a matter of, we want to get that data if we can. So they might as well get some extra money for it. So this is our curriculum. So there are 3 different tracks. The first one is personal competencies. So this is really trying to build up the individual. The second track is really more practical, pragmatic skills, interviewing, writing a resume, that sort of thing. And the third track is workplace success. So this is going to be things that would make them, more likely to stay in a position and get promoted in a position. So an instructor can choose a track and teach it all the way through. Or they can pick and choose from these curriculum, these different tracks, based on what your youth need. So if your youth are already working a lot, you're probably not going to need resumes or interviewing skills because they've already done that. So you can choose, from track 1, managing conflict. If you have students who are, truant, you can get time management. Everybody needs money management, so that's always a good idea. And then you can pick over in, track 3, you can workplace harassment, creative thinking, job performance evaluations, really totally based on what your youth need. We are adding 2 more classes. They'll officially go into track 1 that are on SEL, social emotional learning. But again, you can pick and choose from any of these classes. So there are 12 classes. They're all getting started. They all start with getting started and they all end with tying loose ends. So you get 10 classes that you teach in between those 2. And you can pick from these 30, eventually 32 classes, whatever best suits your students. You're likely going to be teaching these to 10, larger groups of students. So they might, not all need these certain ones. So you can find the ones that are most applicable to your group as a whole. And then if the students are doing this on our virtual platform, they can choose a track and go all the way through, or pick and choose what lessons are specifically targeted to them. Some of our students, some of our teachers, if a student is absent, they can actually, that's where that blended learning comes in. They can then go online and do one of these courses. And they don't necessarily have to do the same one as everybody else in their group is doing. They can choose one that best suits what they individually need. So then training. Teaching this curriculum is IYF has a very particular way that they teach this curriculum. This information can be pretty boring if not taught correctly. So they have a lot of icebreakers. They have a lot of particular exercises they do in order to teach this curriculum. So they have online trainings coming up. The next one is the winter training. It's January 24th through 11th. It's 2 to 3 times a week for 90 minutes at a time. It's usually about 2 hours. I think it's only if you're on a certain level, you have to take 1 extra class. So they're quick classes. I don't know exactly what time they'll be at. They're usually in the morning. And you take the class, so you're meeting via Zoom with a cohort of other people who are who are other trainers is what they call them. And you do exercises, you learn techniques, you will do a practice class. And then outside of those times, there are assignments that have to be completed on their platform, just asynchronous assignments. They're not too labor intensive. They have a very specific virtual platform for the training as well as the curriculum. And it walks you through step by step. And that's something that if your trainers were to have any problem, I could help with, but obviously IYF has a team of people that it is their job to teach this training so that it's taught in the same way, so that they call it their quality assurance team to make sure that the youth are getting the curriculum the way it was designed to be. And then Next steps, so if you guys are interested, if this is something that you think your youth would benefit from, we'd love to get some of your staff into the next training. So that one's coming up in January. In order to get into that training, you could reach out to me, Devin Kelly. There's my email at ASN. But yeah, the next training's coming up in January. There's another one in March, but I'd love to get your youth involved. It's a great program. For the short term, they get extra money in their pocket, but for the long term, it'll help them be more successful in their careers and their education. So it's something I'd really encourage. Like I said, it's a new program. We're about 3 years old in doing it at ASN, but we're not doing that. And so I'd love to get you guys to come on board. I'd love to get your youth to benefit from this curriculum and just benefit from the incentives as well. But yeah, do you guys have any questions?
This is Eva. I have a question either for you or Mike. Does this have to be for the after school kids, or it could just be for just the school-wide period?
It can be everybody. Either.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So this could be for any kids in the school for sure.
Yeah.
You know, we're hoping that this could be part of your after school program, you know, but there's no, I mean, this could be during the day, it could be anytime really. We just want as many kids as possible to benefit from it. So
okay, thank you.
Yeah, it does. To me, it seems like a great after school activity for seniors that are getting close to graduation, maybe as part of a post-secondary transition plan, you know, like prepping them to do job interviews or, you know, prepare their resume, doing all those pieces, getting ready for work. I know a lot of kids are already working, but some, they're going to finish high school and then be looking, right? So it seems like a good post-secondary transition kind of curriculum to me.
Another important point is there is an age restriction. Youth need to be between the ages of 16 and 24. So they can't be freshmen or sophomore, depending on their age, I suppose. They do have to be 16 years old.
That pretty much covers all the students, and with a tiny number of exceptions. There are a couple 15-year-olds in our schools, but it's pretty rare.
Exactly.
Do you have the specific date in January that the training is?
Yes. It begins, let me just check real quick. Yes, January 24th.
I think that's on the slide, right?
It is. Yeah. And I believe it's in the email that was sent out as well, I think.
Devin, are you going to share the PowerPoint presentation with us?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll send it out with the PowerPoint, actually with a recording to all the site coordinators that couldn't be here today. They can view this recording. And then there'll also be sort of these next steps about, you know, emailing Devin to sign up. I have a couple.
And I'll go with my team as well. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks,
yeah. Regarding that, is there any limit to the number of instructors that could join the training? Okay. So maybe you have a whole team that would like to, you know, incorporate it in different ways in their teaching. It could potentially happen that way. Lots of people could do it. I know there's some strict guidance on their quality controls, but it doesn't keep you from combining it with other goals. Like if you could, for instance, have an after-school job club. You know, it's a popular thing to do with some after-school programs, where kids are like looking for job postings online. They're having conversations about how to do interviews. This would pair nicely with that. I don't know, you know, if anybody's looking to start that in an after-school program. It could be like a life skills class during the day. It just seems like it's got a lot of places it could fit, right?
Yeah.
And then I had one more. This is my last question. Who's in charge of reaching out to students to follow up on those 60 and 90-day surveys? Do instructors have to do that, or is that something?
So yes, that would be the trainers. But having said that, any assistance that I can provide to do that, I'm more than happy to help out with that. But yes, that would be the trainer's responsibility.
Great. I think those are my questions. My comment on the training, I think like Tanya Hudson at PLA has really embrace the training. And
Yes, all of PLA they're trying to get all of PLA trained this year.
Yeah. And it does have, it does have the sort of prescriptive design, but it also does have built-in, sort of like icebreaker activities or, warm-up activities for the every day of training if you're doing it in person.
Yeah, and just like they have little things that are very particular, like when you have them break off into small groups, they'll what do they call them? You have the reporter and recorder, and they'll say like, okay, your recorder is the person whose birthday is closest to the next major holiday. Your, reporter is the person who, is something like that, whose favorite vacation is, closest to Chicago or something like that. They have all sorts of weird little quirky things that make it a little bit more interesting, that make the youth a little bit more engaged.
And they're actually kind of warm-up activities you could use in anything. So like getting trained
for sure.
in IYF or in PTS rather, could be some transferable skills for an instructor, could be a resume item that they could add, right? So if they're, it's a portable skill, I guess I'm saying. I don't mean to hog all the question time, but I did have.
Yeah, sorry, I think I froze for a little bit. I missed the tail end of that.
Oh, I just said I didn't mean to hog all the questions. Stepping aside if anybody else has any questions that they want to ask.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity. We have a budget and to pay out the students with some stipends. So if you're worried about students being interested, they're generally pretty interested once you tell them about those stipends. And then new this year is the CPR certification or the food handler certification. I know food handlers is a little bit more common, but that's just a really great opportunity for kids to get that on their resumes, because that can look great in applying for positions. Once they're ready to leave school, it can also be great for them moving on to college. So anything that can help to build their resume and help set them apart.
Especially that CPR certification. That is a really good certification to have. I was like, hell, I need to sign up.
Yeah. Sadly, there is an age
talking about
restriction.
that for a year and a half now with after school programming, is figuring out a way to get CPR certification to instructors.
Yeah.
I had one more thing I was going to mention was if these, I don't know, these trainings take place during the workday?
Yeah, so they don't yet have specific times so I don't know the exact time that this is going to be taught. Sometimes it's the morning, sometimes it's the afternoon. Having said that, I can tell them when is best available for us, and they will take that into account. Whether or not they can accommodate is a different thing entirely.
Well, because I was going to say, if it ran beyond the workday for any after school instructors specifically, we can pay them to attend the training. So it could be part of they could report those hours as work hours. So if it ran, like if they were in the late afternoon after 3 o'clock when their contractual time as teachers ended and they were really on our clock, they could definitely report this as work time. So I just want to throw that out there. I'm trying to do that. The thing I was always worst at as a teacher was that long pause waiting for the last thought to come from the student. I'm trying really hard. Well, I hope that some schools join in on this. I think, it's really suited to a certain kind of instructor that really enjoys this kind of life skills work specifically, but it really is a powerful thing to walk away with for students. I do really think that. So just let us know. If you have any questions, you can just reach out direct to Devin.
I just put my email in the chat, so you can feel free to reach out to me there. Or Mike is going to be sending out another email, a follow-up email with these slides and everything as well.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us, everybody. We wanted to keep this tight So I know you're like, some of you are in your after school program right now. You got other things you're working on. So just, you can also email me or your program manager if you have questions too. So, but Devin's happy to respond to any questions.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Devin.
Thank you.